I just got my first spring gobbler. This is the first time I've ever called in and shot my own turkey. I am ecstatic. I feel like, I feel so good right now. I can't even like fully express it. He's absolutely beautiful. Nice bird, got some good spurs, decent beard. He's probably 2.5, 3 years old maybe. Woo, what an exhilarating feeling. If you're having a better day with me, you're having the best day of your life. It doesn't get any better than this today. This is the best day.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Wyatt Props, here at Props Taxidermy. Got my buddy Hunter here. He got a turkey the other day, so we're gonna show y'all how to skin it and prep it out in the field, in case you're out of state, things like that. I'm pretty particular on how I skin my turkeys for mounting purposes. So this is basically for anyone that's gonna be out of state, know how to take the tail off, if you have to cape the whole bird out, or if you have a guy that wants to skin it, show them this video, skin it my way, not their way, because it's always wrong. Come on, guys. All right, so we got the bird hanged up. I use a deer gamble, and I like to separate them, hang them by the feet. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna take the tail off. The legs are gonna be separate. From there, I'm gonna cape it out, and the rest of the bird's gonna stay whole. First thing I like to do, just grab their wings, just push right here in the corner joint. Kind of just open them up from that rigor mortis setting in. Just kind of push them down out your way. And first, we have the tail. So there's two main points. Right here, every bird has an oil gland. It's this little nipple looking thing right there at the base of the tail. That part is going to stay with the rest of the cape. So we're going to cut on the back side in between it and the tail coverts and do a circle all the way around the tail. I want that as a marking point when I go to mount your bird. That way I make sure I put it right in the back in the same spot. So make sure it stays with the cape. Then on the bottom side, you got the bird's vent here. What I like to do is just come up 2 or 3 feathers. Got 2 or 3 feather tracks. There's kind of a bald spot here. That's where I'm gonna start my cut. And they have this little meat on each side. That's just where the tailbone is. We're just literally doing a circle all the way around to that oil gland. So you can see I got through the skin. Now it's just meat. If you keep cutting through the meat, you end up finding the vertebrae. It's right there. Just find the joint in between one of the vertebrae, and you'll separate your tailbone from the carcass and the actual tail itself. Find your oil gland. It's right there. Like I said, I like to pinch it with my one hand and kind of pull out as I cut. I'm just staying right below the quills on the tail as I skin around, as I pull out. That's just going to help separate your skin so you don't cut a bigger hole than necessary. Then from there, simply just gonna connect your 2 cuts. Got your cut from where we started, the back. Right through the meat, and connect the other side. Tail should look something like that. Got your main tail feathers, your coverts on top, then all your under coverts stay with the bottom of the tail. Next we got our drumsticks. Like I said, drumsticks, they're going to come off. They're going to stay attached to your feet. Do not cut them off here. I've had guys do that in the past. That just makes it really hard to fix. The easiest thing you see, you got your hip pockets here. These big fluffy, called flanks, hip pockets. I'll put my hand behind them and fold them down. You'll see there's a natural part between your drumstick and these side pockets where there's a bald spot. We're going to make literally just a perfect circle straight around. Cut a few feathers, it don't matter, they're just downy fluff feathers that'll never be visible in the mount. Come on the inside, you can kind of see there's a bald spot there also. Just gonna cut right through that. Come around to the back, connect those. Now it's a perfect circle all the way around. Repeat it on the other side. Flanks are separated. No skin's now holding onto your drumstick. It's all separate. Then from there, Don't really matter where. I just like to go pretty much dead center of your two legs, straight down. I'm going to separate these bottom feathers coming up the belly here. And just find a track, kind of separate them just to get you a nice even spot. That way you're not cutting a bunch of quills. I kind of just separate one of the tracks from the other tracks so you get a nice straight line. There, you're just going to cut straight across. I don't recommend going super deep here because you will cut a hole into their stomach and it stinks. Have a straight cut, circle around each leg. And from there, you're just gonna skin it down like you would a deer. Just gonna hold on to that skin. I try not to grab by the feathers, I'll grab the actual skin itself. Now I'm using a scalpel. You can use those Avalon knives or Outdoor Edge or the replaceable blade. You just want a really good sharp knife. I like the little blades. Skin that down a little bit. The trickiest part, I believe, for most guys is gonna be getting this part right in front of the vent, down at the back, skinned over. It's just a little tighter, stuck to the bodies. You're gonna repeat the same thing. I'll try to pinch the skin here. Just try to get underneath. Their skin's very, very thin. As most of y'all know, they rip pretty easy. So sometimes it's a pain to get a hold of it. And this part's usually never really visible on the mount anyways, unless the bird's way up high on a wall, so don't fret about it too much if you put a little hole or something there. You get it skinned down, I'll come here on my side pocket, start skinning it back a little bit. Don't worry, you can pull on them with a little decent amount of pressure. They're a pretty thick-skinned bird. It's not like a, oops, see, put a little hole there. You never even see it on the mount. Right here you can see it's got that pinkish color. That's going to be its vent. It's a little bit of tissue there, so you're just going to cut right through that. And remember, we cut the tail off, so there's already a hole there. So you start seeing feathers. That's just where there's a tailbone. That's right where we cut through before. Here, I'll take my finger and just kind of push the skin down. Like I said, it's pretty tough. All that's holding is on there is a little bit of membrane. If you're worried about it, you can slowly skin it the whole way down. Granted, I do this every day.
Yeah, you make it look really easy.
Yeah. Do a couple hundred of them, you get good at it. They're just going to keep skinning it down. Because it's the same as doing a deer. You're just going to keep working in a circle, skinning that bird down. I just try to keep it even as I go. Pulling and putting my knife just where that white is, that membrane. Like I said, a good sharp knife. If you have a good sharp knife, as soon as you touch it, it'll cut and the skin will fold down if you put a little pressure. Now what I keep handy here, I got a bunch of paper towels ripped open, or apart, because they bleed like crazy as soon as you go to cut through this knuckle, and usually they're shot somewhere in the head or neck. So once I get past this part, usually blood everywhere. So as it starts bleeding, I'll take paper towels and stick to it. You don't see me doing that probably a bunch, depending on the shot damage. One that just keeps blood running down the cape, getting all in these feathers and drying up and getting down to their downy. I like to keep them very clean. It's not a necessity, but for me, I'd rather keep the bird as clean as possible. That's another thing, forgot to mention in the beginning. We'll wrap their heads up with paper towels and put in a baggie, just to keep any of the blood from the shot damage of the head inside there and not getting it all over the feathers, especially when you go to carry the bird out. If you keep one of these, keep a baggie and some paper towels in your pack, and you're carrying that bird, that blood's not getting all over you and your legs and everything else. It's all about keeping them clean. Clean from the start, easier in the finish. So you're gonna get to your shoulder joints here. Birds are different than deer and stuff like that. They don't have a shoulder blade, they have a socket. So there's a knuckle in there. You're gonna have to cut through a tendon where they rotate in order to get them to pop out. So I got both my arms here relatively freed. You can see right there's that ball, kind of a white knuckle there. We're gonna come right here on the back side of that breast. I'm gonna cut through the tendons. Kind of go inside and make a little circle. See how it's just rounded, has that knuckle inside. You'll see when it pops out here in a second. Tendon on top and bottom. Right there, big old white tendon. Yeah, so you can see, you got your humerus coming up right here where it attaches. So I'm gonna come right here into this meat. There's your knuckle, see where it attaches. There's a tendon here on the back side, these white tendons. Just gonna have to cut through those. Once you get the tendons cut, the only thing holding it's the back corner of the breast. There, just be careful, just cut slow. Just make sure you don't cut a hole through your skin. Freeze it right out. The one spot I do not want a hole, pretty much anywhere, but mainly the breast. Don't want holes in these tracks. You want those nice pretty lines when you get that mount. So if I put no holes there, because that breast is going to have adhesive all in it when I put it on the form. Any hole in there, if I have to sew it up, it'll grab the quill tips and that'll mess up your mount. It makes it harder to adjust your feathers. There, just going to keep skinning down through the crop. This is usually when you get all your blood. They got that sack in there that blows up for one when they're strutting and stuff, but they have this fat pocket or bag basically that surrounds it, and it just helps break down their food, but it's full of blood and they stink and they're nasty. You can see as I'm cutting, they're just little vein pockets that want to pop open. Your bird being frozen the other day, you dropped it off, and thawing it out makes it a little easier. They don't bleed quite as bad compared to a completely fresh bird. You can see all the veins. They're already starting wanting to bleed on me. And I recommend when you do this, when you're skinning them, stay higher on your cut than lower. Because if you cut too low, you end up cutting through the skin. So I'd rather you just cut through that fat, leave the fat on the cape, and cut through all the way through the fat and cut a hole in your cape. So here's where I'm gonna put some paper towels on this guy. Soak some of this stuff up, just as it runs down. And yes, I've had this stuff as I'm cutting before shoot in my face. Like I said, they're nasty birds. So, that's about as far as we're gonna go. Now we got our neck exposed here. Take a couple more paper towels here. Help keep that nice and dry when I go to pull them off. Take my game shears. I like to take another paper towel. I'll put it, so this is the back of your bird and you got the front of your bird. I always cut from the back, mainly because you got that esophagus there. So I like to cut through the bone part first instead of through the esophagus, and that's usually where most of the blood is anyhow. But I'll take a paper towel and just kind of hold it around the front as I cut. So when I go to cut all the way through, I can wrap it up and catch any of that blood. This is all personal preference because I don't want blood all over my floor and me. There's your bird. So from here, you're just gonna now invert it. And I like to grab it by its head. I'll take my hand, push up through, grab the head. You have a nice, pretty, clean bird. There's no blood on it. And from here, what you're gonna do, just keep them nice and tight, or fold them up. He's gonna go in a bag. Then we'll get his tail on there, and I'll show you how to cut the breast and the legs off. I like doing it this way too. Pre-skinning a bird out. It's just so much easier to see when you got the meat and stuff. Customers always ask me, can I get the meat? Can I get the meat? Yeah. I don't need it. Don't eat it. I don't need it. All I need is your skin. Pretty simple. Just follow your sternum down one side. They got a big breastplate.
What a difference between a wild turkey and a store-bought one, huh?
Oh yeah.
You got huge breast on the store-bought turkey. Wild bird don't got all those hormones pumped in them.
Yeah. This thing ain't full of drugs. Yeah.
They're not on steroids, yeah. Right, be on this side, yeah.
Got your breast. I just like to trim all that crop and fat off there. There's that air socket or air pack I was talking about. recommend not cutting that open because they stink. Especially kill a bird later in the day. They'll be full of grass and bugs and all kinds of stuff they've been eating. Those are the ones that really stink. They basically pull out, but I kind of help guide them so they don't rip all up too bad on you.
You know you're good when you don't cut that pocket. Or that skin.
Bag of meat.
There you go.
Alright, where's my bag? Now we're going to cut the drumsticks off. I like to just put a bag around my bird. That way it doesn't fall straight on the floor. So I'll just pull this sock up out the way a little bit. We're just going to cut right through that knee joint. So I'll come to the back side here. I'm going to come straight in. Find your joint. I like to do both sides at the same time. That way one's not holding all the weight. That way I can cut them both pretty quick. Now I got them both pre-cut. I'm going to cut one side. Watch your spurs and your legs. If you have it hanging like this, because it's just going to start dangling, especially you got big hooks. Well, I've been hit in the face and cut.
Wow.
I got one. That guy's coming around at you. Two. Simple as that. Now you got all your parts all skinned out. You're gonna have your tail, drumsticks, cape. I'll show you just real quick what I do. I'll take one paper towel per each. I'll just wrap it around the tail just so it's covering the meat, just to keep any blood. Same with the drumsticks. Just gonna halfway wrap them up a little bit. You're just going to set that on top of your bird, set that on top of your bird, and set your tail. And then from there, that's going to go into a bag.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, freeze it, whatever you have. Bring it straight to me. You know, if you're out of state, you're obviously going to have to freeze it or do something with it. Be the best thing. But say keep a bird out. Hope y'all enjoyed. Thanks.
All right, guys, thank you for joining in. That's Wyatt Props. I'll put a link in the description to his taxidermy shop so that you can check out his work. And I'll come here real quick and show you his award-winning bird. A master of his craft.
Getting there.
Hey, you got the accolades to prove it now, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. We'll catch you again.